Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Oh yeah, this is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I am here with Jelly Belly Joel.
Hey guys, what's up? Coming up with like the most random names.
And we are not sponsored by Jelly Belly, so
We are not. Oh, that would be such a cool sponsorship. We'd be millionaires if we were sponsored by Jelly Belly.
Yeah, Jelly Belly every episode. You'd be Jelly Belly Joel or Jelly Bean Joel. You know, whatever.
Some flavor of the Jelly Bellies.
Yeah,
every time.
Yeah. Popcorn, Jelly Bean, Jelly Belly
that's
Joel.
the worst one. Don't ever give me that name.
All right. Well, it's a movie podcast, so you got to be popcorn. So
that is true. Ugh.
Come on.
It's all right.
I swear this is not rehearsed. It's so dumb.
It's not. Yeah, I know.
So dumb.
I would hope that if it was rehearsed, we'd come up with some better material than this.
Okay, let's get to the episode. So,
okay.
We have gone through all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. So, as we always do at the end of a series, we need to rank them. So,
yes,
we got 9 films, and they're all amazing films. So this is going to be really challenging.
Every single one. They're all A material movies in this list.
All very good. No, in all seriousness, this is definitely the worst series that we've done. We've only done a few, but this is by far the worst. Out of the ones we've done. We've done Saw, we've done Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. And, I mean, we've done, like, The Conjuring, and, so. Yeah. We've done a few other ones, but, the longer
as far as, like,
series,
the big, series.
Really bad.
Yeah. I am glad that we're getting this out of the way.
I'm down to be done.
It was homework getting through a lot of these movies.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's just kick it off. What do you have for number 9, Joel?
That being said, as far as homework goes, my number 9 is going to be Next Generation. This movie, so it had moments of being decent. But for a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, it is horrible. But there was a sort of a subplot in there that actually could have been an interesting story with Matthew McConaughey's character and like his background and everything.
Yeah.
But that does not feel Texas Chainsaw. That's so as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, this is bottom of the barrel for me.
Okay.
Leatherface is the worst, the worst he's ever been in this particular movie.
Yeah.
And one time watch is all that I need for this movie. I'm good.
What was the guy in the wheelchair's name in the original? What was his name?
Oh
man,
I don't remember what his name was.
Dang it. What was his name?
It's like Sally's brother.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name was, though. He is by far the worst character in all of Texas Chainsaw, in all of horror. I'm throwing that out there. And I don't remember what his name was.
Oscar or something, but that's not right.
No, I thought it was like an A or something. I don't remember what his name is.
Franklin.
Okay, it didn't start with an A at all. Yeah, Franklin.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Who's worse, Franklin or Leatherface from Next Generation?
Oh, jeez. Franklin.
Okay. I thought
barely, but Franklin.
Okay. I thought I could get you. I thought I could get
Leatherface might be the second worst in horror, but Franklin, yeah, it's just so Leatherface was whiny throughout the entire movie.
Yeah,
but you honestly don't get him as much as you do Franklin.
Yeah.
And Franklin actually had like speaking parts that I just wanted to throw something at him. Like he was the worst.
You are so worked up about Franklin.
I am because I just that movie, if it hadn't been for him, could have been higher up on my list. So
right,
who knows where that movie ranks, but it's not number one. I can tell you that right now.
Okay. All right. So for me, my number 9 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like this movie. It's so I feel like this series, the family is always kind of teetering on a few different levels. It's either really annoying, funny, or creepy. And this film, they're, I think, trying to be funny. But for the most part, it just comes off as annoying to me.
Yeah.
And Chop Top, he has his moments in the beginning, but he gets really annoying really fast for me.
Yeah.
He's just too much. And his like whole thing with his like hanger and scratching his head and so I don't know. It's just gross. So I'm not a fan of this movie.
He's not supposed to be like a lovely character.
Yeah, he's definitely not.
Yeah.
You know, actually, now that I think about it, he reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas. The dad, the father, the like scientist guy who's the father of
the Frankenstein character.
He looks like him. He kind of looks like that character, like this animated character.
Yeah. He doesn't have such a sunken in face.
No, I mean, he's not literally animated, but he kind of has similar facial features. So, yeah, I just didn't like it.
Wow,
I thought Leatherface was somewhat entertaining at times. In it, I thought he was somewhat funny at times. But yeah, did not land for me at all. So that is number 9.
It was also, I think, one of the longest Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies we had too. It was like 2 hours long.
Yeah, it was way too long.
It's like I love long movies, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like 90 minutes.
Yeah, tops.
Yeah, that you don't need it to go on longer than that. I think a couple of them do, but this one you did feel the length, for sure.
Oh yeah. All right, number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is going to be Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Okay. That's my number 8 as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this, I have like it's not that terrible of a movie. The acting is better than some of the other movies that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
It just, nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah.
Leatherface isn't as annoying as he is in Next Gen, but he doesn't do anything either. Yeah. There's like, I mean, this is a weird one for me because if more stuff actually happened in it, it probably would have been higher up on my list because it's not that bad of a movie. It's just, I liked some of the characters. I liked Viggo Mortensen's character. I think he was probably the best character in the entire movie. And well, I do like, what's his name? The black guy. I forgot what his name was. But he's been in like Rob Zombie movies and stuff. So he was good too. It's just, there's just not a whole lot going for this movie. And I liked the psychology that we got behind Leatherface, like the whole when Mama's telling him to go do his homework or whatever.
Go do your
I like
lessons.
that scene. Do your lessons, yeah. I like that scene because it really gives you an insight into the character.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, he's not all there upstairs.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you knew that from the beginning, but this actually, you know, dives into it a little bit more.
I thought it was interesting that he had lessons. Like she was trying to educate him. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, so you can go do some homework. Hit the books, Leatherface.
Exactly. So like there was some parts to it that I actually enjoyed. It's just there wasn't anything really going for it.
Yeah,
like
I agree. It
this
pretty forgettable.
Yeah. But it's not a horrible movie. Like, even above, there's worse movies than this movie. It's just, there wasn't anything. This movie didn't do anything for the franchise. So that's why it's so low on my list.
Yeah, I agree. When we first started the franchise, this was one of the ones I hadn't seen. And, and I just always thought, like, nobody ever talks about this one. I feel like Next Gen gets, you know, people talking about it because of Matthew McConaughey and how out there it is. And number 2, you know, going from the horror to like the comedy was a big change. And so that one gets talked about. And then the more recent films get talked about. But I feel like 3 always just, no one said anything about it. And so now I know why. It's just kind of a nothing movie, really. Yeah,
but it's not the worst in the franchise though either. No. It's just if it had more going for it, it might have actually been one of the best in the franchise. Yeah, in my opinion. But yeah, like nothing really happened in it. So I'm like, okay, well, that was something.
All right, so yeah, that's my number 8 as well. So let's move to your number 7.
All right, so my number 7, I feel like my number 7 will be your number 9, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or well, yeah, my number 9 will be your number 7 is what I was trying to say.
Yes,
like I feel like ours were flipped there. Yeah, because those 3 are. Like bottom of the barrel as far as the franchise goes.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, some people really like number 2, but
yeah, it is.
Some people put it.
Some people it is in their top 5 or whatever. The franchise. It's just after watching them one after another. This is not a very good movie. So when I think it was during our Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 review that we did. I did compare this to Halloween 5.
Oh yeah, you did.
Like how you were like talking about how much you like Halloween 5 because it strays from the rest of the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't like Halloween 5.
Yeah.
I will give this one a pass because this had one movie leading up to it. So they didn't really quite know where they wanted this the feeling of the franchise to go. Like 1 was supposed to be a dark comedy. There was no comedy in that movie whatsoever. Like
yeah, I don't know how Toby Hooper
he wanted that one to be a dark comedy. So he got his dark comedy with this movie instead. And 80s horror comedy just doesn't work very well.
Yeah, he tried too hard, I feel like, with this.
Yeah.
With Chop Top, I mean, it's just like so much.
It definitely, Chop Top was definitely a character that I did enjoy at first, but because of the length of the movie, if the movie was shorter, I think I would have liked his character more because his character was literally in like the beginning part and the end part, but like a lot of those parts. Yeah. And so if you shorten the ending, you shorten his character. And so I feel like I would have liked his character more if the movie was shorter. I probably would have liked the movie more if it was shorter as well. So yeah, it's just it definitely had 80s cheesiness to it.
Oh yeah.
That I guess I can appreciate. But at the same time, like it's not a good movie.
No.
I mean, even Leatherface was an 80s movie, but it didn't have that cheesiness to it.
Yeah, not
like,
really. I mean, you had the gas station attendant.
Yeah, like one character, but at the same time, like that movie had. I'm disappointed that movie is so low on my list because it had like the ingredients there for an actual decent Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It just wasn't executed well.
Yeah.
Whereas Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was executed exactly how they wanted it to be, an 80s cheesy slasher movie.
Yeah.
And that just, I don't know, it just, I'm just not into that. That's why I'm not a Friday the 13th fan. Sorry, guys. Right. I'm just, sometimes it can be too campy. It can be too cheesy.
Yeah.
And that's what this one was. Just too much. So, yeah. That's why. I mean, it's not, 9 or 8, but 7's pretty low on that list too. So,
well, let's get to my 7. And you're right. It is Next Generation.
Yeah.
Basically because of Matthew McConaughey, I put it above the other two.
Yeah.
I was actually entertained, and I've seen this movie twice now. And I feel like I was pretty entertained even the second time watching it. Because it's just so out there. It's a really wild movie. Leatherface is horrible. He might as well not even be in the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
And they can call this something else.
It would have been better if he wasn't, honestly.
But yeah, Matthew McConaughey, he is creepy, he's wild, he's weird, and some of the choices with like his mechanical leg thing, like what?
Yeah.
What is
that was weird. I don't even think they went into that at all either.
No.
They explained it.
Yeah, his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, like she was weird, and their like
they had a really crazy relationship.
Yeah, it was an out there wild movie, but I was mildly entertained throughout pretty much the whole movie. I don't think there's a real boring part of the movie. And that's where it goes above the other two for me. Part 2 was pretty boring to me. It was annoying and boring. Part 3 was just kind of a whatever movie. So it was like kind of boring, but like forgettable. This one gives me some entertainment value. Now we're getting into some entertainment on the, from this point up on my list. So
yeah,
there you go.
That's I would agree with that. Okay. Yeah. And it's like Matthew McConaughey was pretty much the best part of this movie. And that's why I feel like as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, this movie is horrible.
Yeah.
But his character alone has something going for it. Like there's a backstory with him that I would have loved to have seen like a separate movie for.
Right.
Not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but just a separate movie altogether.
Yeah. Because
there was something there within this movie that they just didn't explore, and I was bummed about that. But that's not what people were going to see the movie for. They were wanting some Leatherface action, which all right,
they definitely got, but not to the to version you want.
So yeah, it was sort of a movie within. It was a completely different movie within a movie that I don't know. It could have been better. Yeah, it's a weird one because
it is.
There's something else there that was not touched upon that should have been. That it would have made it a longer movie for sure, which I don't know. Would have been better, but just give us Matthew McConaughey's story. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't need Leatherface in this movie.
No.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But all right. Now, like you were saying, we are getting into the more entertaining of the movies.
Yes.
On of the franchise for sure. Are they still good? We'll see. But they're at least entertaining.
Yes.
So my number 6 is going to be Texas Chainsaw.
3D?
Yeah, 3D.
Dude, that's my number 6 as well.
Really?
Yeah.
This movie was a train wreck, but an entertaining train wreck.
Yeah.
I think we spent the majority of our review just trying to piece together where this fits, timeline wise. Like, everything about this made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I don't know. It was a mess.
So if you haven't listened to our review on Texas Chainsaw 3D, I'm going to give you a little just brief reason why it's low on our list. So it came out in 2013.
Yeah.
The original came out in 1974. The main character in the 2013 film is supposedly a baby in 1974.
Yeah.
And she's like 22. So it doesn't really add up there. And it's clearly in 2013. There are a few things in the film that give that away, which could have been taken out. And you could have said this was in the 90s. And it would have made sense. But they didn't. And so it's just disrespectful to horror fans. It's like, these guys are dumb. They won't notice.
They won't know. Yeah.
They just want this pretty girl to be in the movie. So, this young, attractive girl.
That part's fair. Part of it's true, but we also like our stories to make sense, too. So
at least the timeline. I mean,
the timeline. It just, there could have been so many, little things they just, it could have easily made sense.
Yeah.
If they just had done little things differently. Like they did, I think you caught this in a review that they did do a good job with not telling us what the year was.
Yeah. From
the original movie. Because we do get that last scene of the first movie in this movie as the first scene.
Yeah, starts right as the original ends.
Yeah.
So it's a direct sequel. And it never says the date, or it says the date, but not the year.
Yeah, not the year.
The first events, but I don't know,
it's kind of obvious.
We know it's
though.
in the 70s. I mean, come on. Even if it's in the 80s, it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know.
So, I don't know. She had to be at least 40 years old to be
at least
for this to make sense. So
yeah.
But it's, other than that, it's a relatively entertaining movie. It's a more, modern film, has some decent kills.
Yeah.
The whole, flip where it's kind of like Leatherface is like an anti-hero, or you kind of root for him a little bit with the townspeople and the cops and the mayor. Kind of hunting Leatherface. So, because they were all jerks, but
they were. But Leatherface at this point, if we're going with the original timeline, so this is 2013. That was 1974.
Yeah,
he's killed many people from the first one to this timeline. So, I mean, they were jerks, but at the same time, he is a murderer. So,
yeah. Well, you don't know how many people he's killed.
Even if he's killed one or two, it's too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did kill Franklin, so I do thank him for that. But
good job, Leather.
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, even in that first movie alone, he killed like 4 or 5 people. So like in that alone, he's killed more people than he probably should have.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, once you get past 3, then it's too much.
Yeah. It's a little overkill at that point. Leather. Come on. Ease back a little bit. So like, I'm sure at this point, the number is like in the double digits.
Yeah.
At least. So it's like, they were jerks, but at the same time, it's Leatherface. So he is a murderer. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Which is what was weird. It's kind of a different take because usually, you got your killer, they're the villain, and then you have your other characters who you kind of want to root for. But there was really nobody to root for in this movie.
Yeah, no, not really.
Except for the main character, I guess. But you're already over her because it doesn't make sense for her to be in the movie.
Yeah,
and then she's cousins with Leatherface.
Yeah, with Leatherface. So she's part of the family. So
yeah. And do you remember the line toward the end when she throws the chainsaw?
Oh, there was something. It was what was it, like? Go get him, cuz, or something ridiculously stupid like that.
Do your thing, cuz.
Do your thing, cuz. That's right.
So dumb.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
yeah, you don't even know this character, lady. Like you just met. How do you even know how he is?
Yeah, his thing.
I'm sure the cops have told her at this point, but still, like, you haven't seen him actually do his thing yet at this point. So
do his thing.
And he's tried to kill you before you even said all this stuff. It's like, all right, well, that's a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was promising, I guess, but at the same time, at the end of the day, entertainment can only get you so far with your stories.
Yeah.
I need a little bit more than just entertainment for it to be higher up on my list. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's one of the more entertaining movies, but just the disrespect of it, I can't look past. So
yeah,
it's got to be on the bottom half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, that was my number 6 as well. So our lists are looking pretty similar. Let's see what your number 5 is.
For the most part, and I think your number 5 will be different than mine.
All right.
My number 5 is Leatherface.
Oh, all right.
Pretty sure you had that one higher up on your list.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I liked it. It was enjoyable. It was doing something different than the franchise leading up to it. I don't believe for a second that the guy that we got to be Leatherface turns into Leatherface. Even the one that we were like tricked into thinking was going to be Leatherface, I still wouldn't have bought him as Leatherface, but I would have bought it more than who we got.
Yeah.
I liked Stephen Dorff. Yeah. I liked his character. I like his why he's going after the family. I feel like that character though fit perfectly in with the family. If he had different like motivations, he literally could have been part of the family. He could have been a new chop top of this family.
Kind of crazy.
He was pretty psychotic in this movie. And yeah, it's a fun movie. But it's just, I don't know. There's just something missing with it for me. I think one of the main ones for me was who we got as Leatherface. I think that it what is it, like less than 20 years later is who this guy is supposed to turn into Leatherface.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't buy it for a second. And yeah, it was entertaining though. I do like the entertainment factor for it. And how Steven Dorff's character is technically, I guess, now the very first victim of Leatherface, which was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he gets killed by the chainsaw at the end.
Yeah, because he is a part of the murder. Toward the beginning with the
Yeah, and he's the first chainsaw death that we see.
But yeah, he is the first real Leatherface kill.
Yeah. Ever, yes.
Okay.
So it was. I liked the acting was pretty good. There's a couple of actors that I recognize from other stuff, including Steven Dorff. I also had, I forgot what her name was in real life, but she's in the Conjuring movie. And she was in The Haunting as well. She's I've seen her in other stuff. She did a pretty good job in this movie. So acting wise was good. Better than at least half of the series. This franchise is not known for its acting.
No.
So yeah, it was a fun ride, middle of the road, fun ride, which is higher than a lot of people put this movie. I put the towards the bottom for some reason.
I know. A lot of people
doesn't make any sense. There's so many other worse movies in this franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, people really don't like kind of what you said, that character ended up becoming Leatherface, and it just doesn't make sense.
It's not enough to put at the bottom of your list, though.
No,
it's,
people hold the original so high, though. So it's
yeah, they do.
You can't mess with that. And if you do, then you're just done. Doesn't matter how good the movie is. It's got to be the worst.
They got their nostalgia. They've got their nostalgia glasses on. Nothing's gonna beat the original. Yeah.
All right. So that was your number 5.
That was my number 5.
All right. So my number 5 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. A lot of the same characters and actors from the remake. And it's a little more gory, a little more bloody. You get to see more kills. The story with the brothers going to war and one of them, secretly not going to go, I thought was kind of interesting. It added a little bit of a dynamic between the characters. But it's just kind of more the same as the remake. And so it's almost like if the remake didn't exist and this movie came out as a prequel, I might have liked it more. But I feel like with the remake, they're really the only two movies that go together well. But I don't know. I feel like, because when I do a list, I'm like, okay, what am I more likely to watch? So I'm not going to watch this. I'm just going to watch the remake. So that's why it's kind of middle of the road. Even though some of the other movies above it might not be as well done, they're just different enough for me to maybe want to watch them first. So
okay.
So yeah, it's the beginning. It's okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But, number 5.
There's been a lot of beginnings and prequels in this franchise.
Yeah, and a lot of sequels that are direct sequels.
Direct sequels to the original. Yeah.
There hasn't been a trilogy for this franchise. But there have 9 movies.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're going to make a trilogy, it would have been with the remake and beginning.
Yeah.
Make a sequel to maybe the remake or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that ship's sailed by now.
Oh yeah.
It's been 20 years since that remake even came out?
So. Just about.
All right. So my number 4. Okay. I'm going to probably piss some people off with this one. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The OG.
That's also my number 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we're both pissing people off then.
I think it's just a matter of not growing up with the movie.
And that's the thing. If your argument is, well, you just didn't grow up with it, that's a bad movie. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I don't think people would say that though. I don't think people would say, "Oh, you didn't grow up with it. You're too young or whatever."
I have heard that with maybe not with this movie, but with other movies. It's and it's like if that's your argument for anything, then that movie's not good.
Yeah.
If it's just like, oh, it was different back then, like it was whatever it is that people would say about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like if the movie doesn't hold up, then it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
You just have nostalgia for it. That's all there is to it. That's just
right.
So yeah, I mean so this movie, honestly, I know I talk a lot about this, but Franklin probably did lower this movie for me a little bit. At least one, step or whatever. Because
do you remember Franklin, the turtle?
Oh yeah,
that's all I can think about. And it's kind of funny because this guy's in a wheelchair.
He's in a wheelchair. He's he's
a little slower.
Like a turtle. Yeah. No offense, people in wheelchairs. Just losing all of our listeners with
cancel
with
again.
Yeah. So I liked the feel of the movie. I liked what they were going for with it. I understand that you don't need to have like this in your face, like blood-soaked horror movie to have a good story. And I get that. I see that with it. And I like that about it. I like the fact that it feels more violent than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Without, it feels violent without actually showing you any of the violence, really.
Yeah.
Like you don't see really any of the chainsaw. You hear screaming.
Yeah.
But, you don't see anything happen. And I can definitely appreciate that. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's not as good as people think it is. It's really not. And that's, the fact that expectations may have been a little higher may also have been a reason why it's lower on my list as well. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's not as good of a movie as people think it is. I'm sorry.
For me, when I first saw it the first time, which was a few years ago, I absolutely hated it. I thought there was nothing good about this movie. It was kind of boring up to the end, and then the end was just annoying at the dinner table. So I did not see any redeeming qualities until I watched it again a few years later, and I did start to appreciate it more. I did start to kind of get what they were going for with the like realism of it. Some of the sounds and, some of the atmosphere and stuff that it built without needing to do a bunch of like score or anything.
Yeah.
And the acting's not good. Especially Franklin.
It's not. Yeah.
And so that's already gonna lose some points, but overall it's good. It's not great.
Yeah.
And the dinner scene still bugs me. It's somewhat disturbing until it gets annoying. It's just like a couple minutes too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely do with a couple minutes shorter on that, because I get what they're going for with, they're screaming back and forth. She's screaming because she's terrified. They're screaming because they're making fun of her.
Yeah.
And like, I get it. It's supposed to be like unsettling, but it gets to a point where it's just, okay, let's move on here. This is too much.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, a good movie, not a great movie.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, you can't really, you can pretty much say that about all the movies. Like, none of these are great movies. Like,
I would disagree. I think there's one great movie on this list.
There's one that's clear winner for sure.
I think it's great. It's one of my favorites of all time. So it's got to be great.
Okay. Actually, I do think that was on your top 10 list.
Yeah.
When we did our horror list.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was both of our number 4s.
Yep.
And we've just pissed off the older generation of horror fans. Which we're probably going to do later on here too.
Well, for the rest of our list, because anything,
true,
ahead of the original is ridiculous. So
yeah,
especially what I'm about to say for number 3. So let's do your number 3.
All right. So I know for a fact my number 3 is different from yours because you've already mentioned yours. Mine is The Beginning.
Okay. Cool.
I think I liked it a little bit more than you did, just because, like how you were saying that it felt very similar to the remake. I think that's what I liked about it. The fact that at this point in the franchise, we've gotten a completely different feel for every movie leading up to the remake. Like every movie, no movie has felt similar in tone up until The Beginning. And I like that it felt connected. Yeah. It felt like it was part of the same world.
Yeah.
And
I do appreciate that. For it to actually make sense and feel the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that.
I would agree that I would definitely choose the remake over this any day of the week, but at the same time, it's still a very well made movie, and I don't like that we got as much of the background as we got with certain things. Like we didn't need to know how the old man was in the wheelchair from the remake.
Yeah.
We didn't need to know that. That was just like, he could have just, he could have had bad knees. He was in the war. He could have had, we didn't need to see it, but it definitely helped to show how sadistic the sheriff was.
Yeah.
To be like, this is his own family. And if he does this to his own family, what do you think he's going to do to strangers? Like, this is... it's to show how crazy he is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we already have Leatherface. We don't need to know how crazy other people in the family are. Leatherface should be the crazy one.
Right.
He's the reason he's who people know in this franchise. And yet he's been the most tame throughout most of the franchise, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
And so, I do like that we got, like, I don't need a lot of blood and gore in horror movies, but it does help in a slasher movie where chainsaw is in the title.
Yeah.
So
good point.
So you know what you're getting yourself into. And so this is definitely one of the bloodier of the franchise. And so, I liked everything about this movie, really. It's just not as good as my top 2. And I was going to say, I think our top 2 are the same, but you haven't said your number 3 yet.
Yeah,
so.
I think it is going to be the same. My number 3 is Leatherface.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like this movie, and you know, it's above the original, but I don't care. I like the little trick that they pull. The thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the series, I feel like some people take it very seriously because of the original being such an iconic film to a lot of people. I mean, to some people, it's the most terrifying thing ever. And, you know, so I get that you want the other films to be taken seriously. For me, these films are just for fun. Like, I'm not invested really in Leatherface or the family or anything. So for me, I'm just going in to see, okay, watch a slasher, have some fun. So the fact that there was like a twist at the end, it was kind of fun. I enjoy twists, and slasher usually doesn't have a twist. Usually you know who the killer is, and you know, it's pretty straightforward. So I appreciated that. I liked it was like a road trip kind of horror movie, almost like a Devil's Rejects kind of feel to it. Yeah, I thought it was well made and well acted, and I like Stephen Dorff, so it was good. I enjoyed it. I've seen it a few times and had a good time each time I watched it. So it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's an entertaining movie for sure. I don't think it should have been called Leatherface because we don't actually even get Leatherface until the last like 2 minutes of the movie. Like it should have been called something different, but it's, you know, that's just the title. But yeah, it is an entertaining movie for sure. One that people need to rewatch it and keep an open mind. That this is not the original movie. So no movie is the original movie. Like not even for any franchise. Every movie is different from
there's never going to be an original Texas Chainsaw Massacre again.
No, because there literally only be one of those because it's the original. and even the feel of it, the way it was filmed, all that stuff, you're never going to recreate that. It's just that's one thing it has. It is very unique in that sense. And it's just not going to happen again. It's just different times. You know, unless you get Ty West, maybe he can kind of do that. To the best of anybody's ability that I can think of. Yeah. So if Ty West wanted to do it, then, you know, I'd be. I feel like even Rob Zombie could do a very gritty, like.
Yeah, but he would go too far.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is what Halloween should have been.
Yeah.
Because he's got that family dynamic thing. He's really good with the whole twisted family type of thing. Yeah. But he probably would have taken it too far. But I would have liked his take on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he'll do one eventually. I mean, it's just like fun to see. It's pretty much like him, you know, like it's just, it makes total sense for him to do one. So
it does.
He'll probably do one.
He should have done that before he did Halloween. But
100%. Halloween doesn't go with his style.
No, it doesn't.
So
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Number 2.
So number 1 and number 2, I feel like are going to be the same for us.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 is my number 2.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Netflix.
So I was skeptical about this for the longest time because I had heard the rumors about how people saw a screening of it and absolutely hated it. And so no studio wanted to touch it. So Netflix is like, we'll take it. I guess we'll take it off your hands for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. The audience members that were watching this movie, because this is clearly one of the best in the franchise.
See, I agree, but it has one of the worst IMDb scores out of the franchise.
It's because of the whole quote unquote woke stuff, which isn't even woke.
Yeah, it's got a 4.8.
That's ridiculous. I think Next Generation has a worse score, but
3.3.
But besides that, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's like one of the worst scores of the franchise, which is just ridiculous. we're in a day and age. Look, I hate wokeness in movies just as much as the next person. But your anger needs to it needs to make sense, because this movie is not woke.
No.
Like, I mean, there
are a couple of characters that are of that like generation and have those ideals.
That's a generation, though. Yeah. That's not like,
that's just playing a character.
Yeah, exactly. That's playing a Gen Z character.
Yeah.
In a movie today. That's just who they are.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with the movie itself being woke. That's got everything to do with wanting your movie to be as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
To the characters that are going to be in it.
And that's kind of where I, because there are films that are quote unquote woke, but the way that I kind of look at it is this film trying to get me to believe in some sort of ideal? Is this film trying to give an opinion about some certain social issue or whatever? If that's the case, then yes, I would say that film is woke, especially if it has certain, social justice ideals or anti-capitalism or gender theories or any of that stuff. If that's what they're trying to push. But if there's just characters in it that have those ideals, then no. I mean, it could be, but this movie doesn't, because there are other characters as well that are kind of the opposite. And, they kind of have certain stereotypes that are, proven to be false. And, different things that I'm like, okay, because I was at first kind of worried when the main characters are introduced and you can kind of see the type of people they are. But as the movie goes on, you realize, okay, they have these preconceived ideas of what Texans are like, but then they're wrong. Later in the movie. And they end up all pretty much getting killed off, too. So that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually got a full-on massacre.
Yeah.
In this
for the
movie.
First time
for the first time in Texas Chainsaw Massacre history. It took, 50 years to get a massacre in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie? And it was done in, one of the most hated movies. All right.
Yeah.
Well.
What they should do is bring Leatherface and, Train to Busan together. Because he did this massacre in a bus.
Yeah.
He could do this on a train. He could take these zombies out.
Yeah. Oh, imagine if he lost and now we'd have a zombie Leatherface.
Oh, no.
The ultimate villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. You're not really supposed to like the characters in this movie. Most of them are not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a movie that Texas Chainsaw 3D wanted to be.
Yeah.
They wanted your antagonist to be an anti-hero.
Yeah.
I literally went in this with no expectations. I was just like, I just want to be entertained in this movie. I want to see blood. I want to see violence. I want to see a cool looking Leatherface. And I got all of that stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with the outcome of this. And there were some CGI blood moments that I thought were kind of lame, but for as big of a body count as we got, I can excuse that a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I don't know. Besides the wokeness, I don't see what other stuff people would have hated about this that much to rate it so low.
Yeah.
Because literally the wokeness was only 10 minutes of this movie anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It was like the first 10 minutes. And then I was like looking at comments on like Facebook, which is always a mistake to do. And people were like, I shut it off after 10 minutes. This is a stupid movie. It's like, dude, I can't stand people like that. Like, there's just like, they don't give movies a chance. Like, okay, maybe give it 20 minutes. Maybe the whole wokeness was the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you get over that pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's just, I thoroughly enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's my number 2 out of 9. So
yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it. I was hoping for a bloodbath and a cool Leatherface, like you said. And I mean, and that's kind of, from my point of view, that's what Leatherface is. He is a scary, intimidating force with a chainsaw. Yeah. That's what he is to me. In the other older films, he's kind of not that guy. He's kind of more of like the whole man-child thing, and kind of more of just an off, weird character with a chainsaw. Like, he's not super scary until the more modern films. So I feel like this is the Leatherface this is my Leatherface. He had a cool face too. Yeah. His leather face was awesome.
Yeah. It was
really good. And yeah, I mean, the kills were great. The whole bus massacre was awesome. The setting was cool.
Yeah.
Even some of the character development was there. You know, it wasn't like huge or anything, but they had some of that. I'm really hoping they make a sequel, because they did set it up.
I am too. One. Yeah. Let's talk about that ending, because that's another thing that people were like, "Oh, did you see the post-credit scene?" Like,
oh yeah.
Okay.
That's not even what I was talking about. I was just saying that he lived.
Yeah. No, that's like, to me, I don't care where it takes place. Like, I like this new setting because it's not his old farmhouse. Like, we can go away from that for a little while.
Yeah.
And so that was another thing that I liked about it. But it's like, oh, did you see the post-credit scene ending? It's like, yeah, he lives. You didn't have to watch the post-credit scene to see that. But I think people were just like happy about him going back to the farmhouse. And it's like, I don't care about that.
It's whatever.
It's cooler to have it be in different areas, because it's, most of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies have been at that farmhouse.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't have to go back to the same place every single time.
Yeah.
And, I think another one of the negative things people hated about it was that this is supposed to be a direct sequel to the original again.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen that before. But this Leatherface is actually smart.
Yeah.
As opposed to the original, who was kind of like he was, more animalistic and just wasn't really known for using his brains. But it's like, it's been 50 years.
Yeah.
He can develop some of these skills over time. Like, I can believe that this could be the same Leatherface as the original, because it's been so long. It's not like it took place a week after the original movie.
Right.
This is years and years over time. So it's like, I had no issue with that.
Yeah.
And if we're saying that Leatherface was connected to the same universe, then I can definitely believe that, because that guy was actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
Who turned into Leatherface. And then we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then who apparently devolved into this animalistic, like. So
he was broken. He was broken down by Mama. Or it was his mother in the in Leatherface, but wasn't it like, was his mom even in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I can't remember. I feel like it was like his brother and his dad or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Mama was in it.
Anyway,
I don't remember though.
Yeah,
but But I can definitely believe that same Leatherface from the original could be the same Leatherface from this movie.
Yeah.
People change over time. It's just people develop new skills, new ways of killing over time.
Yeah.
How many people has he killed? Like, I'm sure he's developed some techniques in his ways.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I really do hope that they make a sequel based on that score. I don't know if they will.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but I did hear that it was very successful when it first came out, but I don't know how long over time that they look at that. Mm-hmm. If they see that it's been viewed multiple times from the same people, or if it's been viewed by a bunch of people just because a bunch of people are curious about it one time.
Yeah.
I don't know how they rate all that stuff. They don't tell us anything about how they.
Well, there's plenty of bad Netflix movies, so come on, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, yeah. So our number 1 is going to be the remake.
Drum roll, please.
Of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. We did a review on all of these. This was our highest rated, the one we liked the most, so not too surprising. I think for our generation, most people like this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people say it's one of the better remakes of a horror film, which I would agree. It's probably, if not my favorite, probably my second or third.
Yeah, it's definitely remake. Up there.
There's The Thing, but I feel like that doesn't really count. Because it's technically a remake, but nobody cares. Nobody, the original.
After that one came out, nobody's like even seen.
Yeah,
The Crazies is a remake.
Yeah, that doesn't
as
count
well
either. I mean, when you're remaking a classic and iconic film like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, then you count.
Yeah.
It has to have some prestige for a remake to count as a remake.
And I think the original Crazies was like the 30s or 40s.
Yeah,
so
nobody cares.
Really, no one's seen that movie. Yeah.
So yeah, this one's great. Leatherface is awesome. Sheriff Hoyt is awesome. R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah, he's great in it.
Mm.
The family is great. The acting, the filming, it's very gritty, dark, pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is what a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film should be, in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, this is the first time we see how, like, what Leatherface is capable of.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see that in any of the other movies. This is why Leatherface is known in this franchise from this movie.
I think so. I wonder, because this was the first Texas Chainsaw film that I ever saw. And I don't know, did Leatherface really have a big, like, reputation or a big, was he considered one of the top horror characters before?
So I think in the first movie, he was at least in it more than he was in 2 through 4. He was definitely, it shows in certain scenes what he's capable of, kind of, in that movie. Like when he takes him to the basement and, he's sewing up the face. I think he sews up a face in that movie. You don't see the brutality, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't show any of, like, the violence in that movie that it does in the remake. So you don't see just how brutal this character can be.
Yeah.
The brutality is it's there in the original, but it's subtle.
Yeah.
It's much more subtle. It's off screen. Yeah, exactly. And so, To me, that character, I don't know. If I had seen this movie back when it came out, the character would have seemed menacing, but at the same time, it was still his family that was the main focus, and not Leatherface.
Yeah,
and it's still at least the sheriff who is menacing in the remake, but you do see a side of Leatherface that you just haven't seen leading up to this moment.
Well, looking back now, I'm like looking at the covers of the other films, and Leatherface is like the prominent thing. I mean, Texas Chainsaw 3 is called Leatherface. You look at the covers and the posters. I mean, he is the main guy, even though he's.
And there is that fight scene with the chainsaw at the end of Leatherface, but I mean, he may be a main focus, but he's not a main character in his own movies.
So. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Not until the remake does he really get that status.
Yeah.
At least to me and to you. I think a lot of people would agree, but it does seem like he still had like his place in the horror world as one of the top characters. Maybe it's just because of him having, people's faces and a chainsaw. I mean, maybe that's all you really needed to stand out so much. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be that for sure. You don't really see him killing people with that chainsaw.
Not really.
Not in the first 4, but he has one, so that's something.
The saw is family.
Yeah. Is that the tagline of like the 3rd movie or something?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they get him for like a gift?
Yeah, it's like
this golden chainsaw. Yeah. Then he drops in the swamp like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, it's all rusty.
Yeah.
Man, gold-plated chainsaw.
Yeah, I think it's got to be heavy.
Oh, man. Okay, the remake is awesome. The other movies are, a few of them are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them kind of suck. And that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise.
in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Some of them are good. Most of them suck. There you go.
And one is really good.
Yeah. One is really good. Well, yeah. That's definitely. It's a clear number 1, but 2022 is also like pretty good too.
Yeah.
But it's good for different reasons. Like the story for the first one. I mean, it is still pretty basic, but it's still like I do like what they were doing with it. I like the acting a lot more in that one.
Yeah.
And just the feel, the grittiness of that movie. Yeah. I mean, 2022 feels like a movie made in 2022.
For sure.
It's got that like brightness to it. It's like that bright tint. It's got I guess some people would say wokeness. Yeah, polished. And it's got some of the most brutal kill scenes, which is also like a 2022 type of thing too, because we're getting to a point where we're more into blood and guts than than like an actual story. So, which in some franchises, yes. In my Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, yes, I would like more blood and guts as opposed to like a story, because that's not what you watch a Texas Chainsaw Massacre for.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, we are done with Texas. Unless a sequel is made in the coming years, and we'll review that.
Yeah. We'll do that one. At least that's just one movie, though, not 9.
Yeah. So, we will move past this, leave it in our rear view, never talk about it again. And, so another chapter is closed in the Scare Talk history.
Another franchise is in the books.
Yes. All right. So, go check out our reviews on all these films if you haven't. We at least make it fun to talk about these bad movies. If if you want to get a good laugh at how bad they are, we do talk about it. So, and we had some guests too throughout this franchise. So go check them out if you haven't heard them. And look forward to our upcoming reviews. We're going to do some just one-off random ones. So keep your ears open for it, and go subscribe so that you can get our content right when it shows up. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and so you don't have to look for us or wait for us to post on social media to know that we have a new one. It'll just be right there waiting for you.
Yes.
All right. Well, Joel, that is it. Texas Chainsaw is done, and this has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Leatherface bite.